This film is about a killer, a faceless killer that lurks and strikes at random, a killer many of us will have to face. The pictures are the diseased brain of a 57-year-old man, a man called Malcolm. But the chances are his disease may soon be yours. (1947), and a young boy enjoys a rare holiday with his family. His name, Malcolm Pointon.
Oh, don't,
From an early age, Malcolm determined not to follow the trade of his father and family. Work in the messy potteries of Stoke was not for him. For Malcolm, there were dreams and another use for his hands. The first-class honours in music led to his composing, to lecturing, and for a time to the BBC.
Music Machines, presented by Malcolm and Barbara Pointon.
In today's programme, you'll hear lots of instruments which make music all by themselves. We'll call them music machines.
Have you ever heard a sound like this before?
It's all right. Oh, come on, let me give you a big love.
Marriage to Barbara was a success. They had 2 sons and careers at Cambridge. But there began for Malcolm a mounting sense of not being in control.
There's no need to be frightened.
When this photograph was taken in 1992, he wrote, "Very difficult to concentrate. Memory is bad. Barbara gets exasperated with me, and often I don't know why. There is a silent physical buzzing in my head. Is it depression or something worse?"
Jem, deceit, sure.
Addenbrooke's Hospital, Cambridge. And it's here that Malcolm and Barbara, in December 1995, agree to my making a documentary of his illness.
Queen.
The doctor's diagnosis is probable Alzheimer's. The illness is one that ends in death, a journey of which the 3 of us have no experience, over a route that will take us many years to complete.
Oh, that's a lovely picture of my bridesmaid. She looked quite stunning. I think she actually upstaged the bride. I remember coming out of the consultant's office. I remember seeing the Christmas trees and the Christmas decorations, and it all seemed so empty and so sham. And I thought, how can I possibly keep a secret? But I've never had a secret from Malcolm in all our married years.
Alzheimer's, a form of dementia, eventually destroys the brain. Malcolm's diaries reveal many early symptoms and something of himself. Thoughts and actions slipping from my grasp, fog-like experience clouds the words I am writing, aching back, feet, legs. I look forward to lunch, liver and onions and taters. Friday, 5:45, very strong, vivid attack of the vision. Don't tell anyone.
I'm going to ask you to list the words you can remember.
Cabin. Grass. it's all gone.
I remember buying a very informative book on Alzheimer's, which I read from cover to cover. I hid it in my filing cabinet because I didn't want Malcolm to find out. In about May, I suppose, I came home one day and found Malcolm sitting under one of the apple trees in the garden, just weeping uncontrollably. And I discovered that he had found the book. And he said, "This is what I've got, isn't it?" I remember feeling totally numb of Alzheimer's. And the word just rang round and round through my head like a bell, almost like a death sentence. Sorry. Just brings it all back.
Some 500 people a day develop dementia, usually old people. But when Malcolm was told, he was only 51. Bowel movements slimy, smell different than before the attack, very forgetful, lacking in confidence. The vision has reappeared, tendency to panic.
Malcolm had a number of problems which were puzzling. Malcolm would perhaps lay the table with a knife and fork but the wrong way round. He went for a drive to Cambridge to change some tyres and got thoroughly lost and came back in a total panic.
The words total panic should be considered something of an understatement. A policeman had picked Malcolm up for driving down the M11 the wrong way.
On the surface, he looks as though he's the same person, but you know inside that there's something that's eating him away and depriving me of the person that I knew and loved.
Tell me about your life with Barbara. Do you remember where you met her?
We came from Stoke-on-Trent.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we came from.
Do you remember your mum and dad being there?
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah. My father was never a person who is a bit of a, don't know how to put it. Everything's got to be right. You know, and he wasn't a man from at all who's done anything. He was in the yes, he was a slip out in a wit house. You know, what was that? What is that? It a wit house? I'm forgetting what they were now. And so was Barbara.
It seems like yesterday in some ways, and yet so much water's gone under the bridge. I do remember the feelings of the day.
Mm. Where did you meet Barbara?
Just flitted into somebody who was there and I sort of was there. I mean, it's easier than that. She was round and round.
His music toppled over, and I remember leaping up to rescue his music while he carried on playing. And afterwards, he smiled and said thank you. And that was literally the first time that we met.
I sat with Barbara Moore. Afterwards, we decided to go for a walk. I held her hand, then put my arm around her later.
You got a bit more than you bargained for. Do you remember that?
That's right, that's right.
She already has a boyfriend. She kept saying with a smile that I was wicked. I kissed her. She is a very passionate girl.
It's easy to forget, isn't it? I don't know what's going to happen to him. I'm not prepared. I can pretend to be prepared. None of us are. My mother, myself, my brother, all the family know what's going to happen, in the sense that we know he's going to get worse and it's going to get to a point where he just can't do anything. I suppose people expect mental disorders to be shut away in a little home somewhere. Because you look at Dad and think there's nothing wrong with him. You know, he's not missing an arm or a leg or something. But he's in his own little world. He's happy as long as no one gets in his way.
Your house is over there.
Yes, I know.
You know?
I don't think it is.
I think it is, actually.
Well, if people get in his way,
Not
he's
that
not
way.
scared to say what he thinks.
Where? There's your house over through there, look.
Oh.
You can see it, look.
Why, what you going
That's
to
the
do?
back of it.
I've taken it down.
No?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy your walk earlier?
Oh, yes.
It was good,
Walk?
was it?
Walk? Was it a walk?
Um,
Oh, yes, it was, wasn't it?
It was.
Oh, good, good.
How much further are we going up here, do you think?
Do I have to say everything?
No, just let me know.
Why?
Because I'd like to know, that's all.
Oh, what for?
Fun?
Why do you want to go?
No? I'm quite happy to walk as far as you want to go.
Oh.
But if I know where
But
we're
if
going...
I want to go there,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go there, shall we?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Shall
right.
I go? Right.
it doesn't take long before his mood changes. And there's no telling him otherwise. If he tells you the sky is green, the sky is green. It's very hard to interpret him, and it's also very, very hard to understand him sometimes.
Oh, right.
Right. Right. He knows what he's going to say, and then suddenly it goes, and out comes a load of gibberish.
We shall find. If you wait long so long, it'll come out out of place.
If you don't take an interest in him, he gets annoyed, and he can get angry about it. Do you want them? I don't know. I hate mushrooms. No, all right. Bit like that, yeah. He's always craving attention now, and it's impossible to give him attention 24 hours a day because it's just such a strain.
That was part of which one was it? It was that one, wasn't it?
1812 overture.
That's right.
Have you got any family living close by?
Yes, we've got one son who's in and out all the time. He hasn't got a regular job. He's an incredible jazz and rock drummer. Too much bounce. But he's like a lot of this generation, you know, they keep putting it away, and not sort of doing anything about it. So there's a bit of aggro there. Not too bad. I mean, he's a stupendous musician, really, on the drums. Can't do anything else, but that's...
I have been reassured by doctors that it's not an inherited thing, because the way it started was just this one-off fit. But I don't worry about whether I'm going to get it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I just hope to God that someone will be more helpful than they have been to him. It's very sad watching him decay like this. And we've just got to battle through as much as we can. We're going to have to battle through because no one's going to do it for us. Least of all the so-called NHS, who are doing absolutely nothing whatsoever for us. Despite the fact he's paid his national insurance for 30 years.
Bend down. That's it. There you go.
That was a good one.
It's not as if Dad went down the street into a shop and bought, can I have a box of Alzheimer's, please? Oh, it's your fault for buying it. It's not his fault.
Okay.
So why should he be penalised for it?
Martin's looking for a scapegoat is understandable, but home care is available on the NHS. However, in early 1996, Barbara is determined she has the energy to be both day and night nurse to Malcolm.
If Malcolm wants to go to the loo in the middle of the night, he is unable to find his way there in the dark. So I have to be there to put the light on and show him the way to the bathroom. My guess is that if I did sleep in a different room, I'd have my ear, as it were, on the latch all the time, listening for sounds, and I don't suppose I'd sleep any better. Malcolm's sexual urge has diminished as the illness has progressed. We are simply down to cuddling and hugging, full stop. Wash your face, Malcolm. Wash your face. I think your hands are clean now. We have not had any kind of sexual intercourse for, I guess, 4 years now. It seems as though either the medication or the illness, or perhaps both, has caused this loss of a sexual urge. All right, will that do?
That's in an inside one.
No. But with Malcolm, it has just been a kind of general loss. Although we both enjoy just being close together in bed and having a little cuddle, but he does drop asleep quite quickly.
Wait a minute. That doesn't seem to be.
This foot in there. That's it.
Okay.
Come in, Ross.
What are you
Hi.
doing? Another
I'm going
one.
to take you for a walk. I'll go for a walk with you. Am I too early?
There's a lunatic having lunch with us. Watch out. Oh, God. Disgusting.
Just stop it.
This man's not sick.
No.
Let go of me. Let go of me. Oh!
No, you did.
Don't realise how strong you are. You crush my fingers and it hurts. Don't like it. I don't like that, Malcolm.
Neither do I. Now, why do you do it?
I'm trying to help you to get ready for bed. Swallow, please.
Well, you can put it.
Come on, swallow. No, don't chew. Don't chew. Come here. Take some water. He is getting angry with himself. He's getting frustrated, and he often says, "I'm useless. I can't do anything." Malcolm, take some water with it. Malcolm, come on. Take some water with it. Come on, take some water. Take some water with it, please. Come on. Don't chew it, love. Swallow it. Swallow it. Don't bite the glass.
My return to the house in March of 1996 found a place full of tension. Barbara was exhausted, and Malcolm increasingly awkward.
What have you been doing all this time anyway?
Well, I've been away on another film.
Another one? What is it? What is it, Doc?
Well, you'll get a laugh. I've been living in an old folks' home. You didn't laugh.
No.
Hello.
So you've got the music lady coming this morning?
That one. That's got to go. It's got to go. I shouldn't be. It's not right. I shouldn't. sense of music.
Oh. How are you?
I'm all right.
I haven't seen you for a fortnight.
No. She's got no sense of music.
Yes.
She's saying she was no help to you.
No use at all.
Do you feel like playing some music?
Right.
You've got cold hands, yes. It's a cold day. I've got cold hands too.
Shall we play on something on the piano or something like that?
Are you going to sit at the piano, Malcolm?
What's that?
Well, that's what you often do when I come.
So I stopped it.
But she's coming today.
Is she? Oh, if she comes today, she'll get the same thing. Because there's nothing else there for it. I'm angry because I sit down, or whatever it is, and I'm allowed to play things that are not very good.
He's been reluctant to have the music therapy. Perhaps he's cross with her that she isn't getting any better. I don't know if there's any other reason, but he certainly has his moments of feeling very aggrieved. There you go. It's the carrot and apple soup, Grandma. There you go. The real problem was whether to tell Malcolm's mother or not the truth. So for a long, long time, I prevaricated and I didn't tell her the real nature of it. I knew she'd worry herself sick if she knew. Would you like a bit of butter on?
No, no butter on mine.
All right, there you go. And then she'd say, well, why can't they find a cure for it? You're going to the hospital often enough. Why can't they find a cure? Isn't there anything that can be done for him? Then in the summer, I took her on one side and said, you know, Mum, Malcolm won't get better. He's got Alzheimer's. And she said, I just hope I'm not here to see the end. What would you like? Neither. What's the matter?
No, no.
Pardon?
I could have somewhere else, please.
I'm worried about
Just
something.
stopping it.
Okay, that's fine.
This must be yours, I'm sure.
It's fine. Have some cranberry. Good. It's good.
Somebody must have done it.
What's that? Somebody must have done what, Pet? That's some help on that, is it? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Malcolm's aggression is juvenile, but these are still the early days of Alzheimer's disease. For now, as a child would anxiously search the house for its mother, so Malcolm spends his time looking for Barbara.
A few days ago, Malcolm came into the kitchen and said to me, "Who are you?" And I thought, first of all, he was joking. I said, "I'm your rotten old wife. Who are you?" Then he said that a man with a green nose was telling him what to do. And very grim-faced, he walked away. And then a few minutes later, he came back to me, put his arms around me and said, "You won't leave me, will you?"
I'm a nasty boy now. Must be.
Yes.
Well, you weren't very nice to her.
No.
More relaxed.
Do you think she mothers you too much?
I don't think so.
It's very hard to remain loving, especially when your patience is at its limits. But something inside me says, it's not Malcolm, it's the illness. That inside there is still the Malcolm I know, knew, and love.
Malcolm, are you angry with Barbara?
Yes, that was over me. It's not over anybody else. Just me. I don't blame. I'll take the blame. and I don't mind taking that bet.
What are you blaming yourself for?
I don't know what it is.
No, you're hurting me. Stop it.
Well, don't. I told you.
You've no idea how strong your hands are.
And I've not actually knocked her around or out or anything like that. Nothing like that.
No! Lift your foot up, please. I don't like this.
Neither do I. So why do you do it?
Can you let go of me, please, Malcolm?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't like that, Malcolm.
Neither do I. Now, why do you do it?
I'm trying to help you to get ready for bed.
I feel like a criminal. I'm not a criminal.
You're feeling like a criminal.
Well, you sometimes do.
Let go of me! You're hurting me. Take your shirt off.
Yes, but nothing else.
No, just your shirt.
Do you still love Barbara?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh!
No, you did, Captain.
Don't realise how strong you are. You crush my fingers and it hurts. Don't like it.
Well, why didn't you do?
All I'm trying to do is to help you to take your shirt off, Malcolm. Please get ready for bed. Come on. We've had scenes where Malcolm has thrown his tablets on the floor, crunched them under his heel, refused to take them, saying, I'm not ill.
Yeah.
So the sensible thing then was to have a syrup which I could put into his coffee and secretly, in fact, calm him down. What's upsetting you? It worked like magic. Face wash next.
No, I can do that without.
Malcolm, have you face washed? The next day, the next morning, he had got up, gone to the loo, soiled his pyjamas standing up, and had trodden the feces all the way downstairs. It was caked everywhere. No, thank you. I don't want that sort of drug that's going to take that amount of awareness away from him. There must be, going through his mind, why me? And I too have felt frustrated and angry and asked, why us? What have we done to deserve this? But then again, if you're looking for fairness in the world, there just isn't any. You have to take whatever's lobbed at you. Malcolm?
Yes.
Push. Grunt.
No, I can't do it.
Try to do a wink.
Relentlessly, the partnership of marriage is crumbling. Many women in such a position might be forgiven for taking a lover.
In my heart of hearts, I don't think I could do that before Malcolm dies, no. Maybe afterwards, yes, if there was still any life left in me. But not while he's alive. I couldn't betray him, no. Oh, no.
As winter always gives way to summer, so Alzheimer's moves on. Bad times alternate with less bad times. Another year older, Malcolm, family and friends catch up with each other. The gossip was of Martin's coming marriage. The last son was leaving home. Even at happy times, sadness shows its face. Grandma was soon to die. Her wish would be granted. She would not have to witness Malcolm's further suffering. Summer holidays taken at Hope Cove in Devon had always given Malcolm and Barbara happy times. But in 1997, I began to realize that carefree holidays were becoming a thing of the past.
What's he thinking about?
I don't know.
I get the feeling sometimes that Malcolm is being deliberately naughty. Does that mean he knows what he's doing?
Good, well done. Not that way. I'm quite convinced it's all to do with who is in control of his life, and he doesn't want other people to be in control of it. And here am I trying to make him do things that he doesn't want to do.
What do you do to calm yourself down? What's your private time filled with? Do you drink? Do you take drugs? Go on massive sex binges, or do you just watch television?
Oh, chance would be a fine thing. The way I wind down is after Malcolm is in bed, I come downstairs, I pour myself a large gin and tonic, or 2, or 3, and I do the crossword puzzle.
You're being truthful about
I am, yes. And that is my private, personal time where I can pretend for a short time that everything's all right.
So that drink replaces hot chocolate, does it?
Yeah, it replaces hot chocolate. I think it's partly because it's refreshing. The cold tonic is very refreshing.
So why put gin in it?
I think because I want to sleep.
Are you planning an escape?
Not quite.
You are planning an escape, aren't you?
No, it's gone, that's gone. That's gone. But I don't want anybody to know this because this is the place where the way where you should do things.
Where is he?
Comes in these things. Jockey, next.
Malcolm? 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 Malcolm?
There's his hat. There's his hat.
Well, that's sensible. He's gone back to the car. At least he's safe and sound. Oh dear. You gave us all a heart attack when you suddenly weren't there.
Well.
Come on, that isn't our car. Come on, this lemonade will be warm.
An often eccentric, almost carefree summer was ending. Malcolm and Alzheimer's were entering a new phase of the illness. A darker time was about to affect us all.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? Well, can you tell me what day it is today? What day is it?
What a day for what day? No, okay.
Can you see this picture?
Oh, what is it? They did ask.
Yeah.
Here.
What is it? It's called a telly something. This Can you think of the name? Have a look at this one. Can you see this?
Yeah.
What sort of thing is it?
Enjoy it.
Have a look at this. Which one would you eat? This one or this one?
Ready to actually start the scan now, Mr. Pointon. This scan will take about 5 minutes.
Can you read that?
Yeah.
What's this say? All right. What's this one say?
Well done, Mr. Pointon. Are you all right?
Can you see a piano on here?
Yes.
Point to it.
That was very well done, Mr. Pointon. We're just ready to start the next set of images now.
Write your name for me. Write your name.
You feeling okay?
Well, you probably know about saluting, like this. Can you do that? Go on then.
Which side?
Yeah, go on.
You did very well on those. Well done. Table's just going to move a fraction.
Based on the sorts of assessments that I've done today, I'd have to conclude that Malcolm was in the profoundly demented range, because he can't do any of these tests of language and memory and drawing. And if I gave him our formal mental test schedules, I think he'd score 0 on them. So that would put him in the profoundly impaired range, but that's clearly a misrepresentation. You know, he may still be able to sit and play the piano even when he can't understand anything that you say and communicate.
Within his brain, around the skull rim, Alzheimer's disease is making pockets of damage, voids that remorselessly expand, filling with fluid, destroying his command system.
It's changed rather dramatically since the scan that we did in 1991 as well.
Malcolm's spatial awareness and bodily functions will eventually collapse. He'll be dependent on doctors to keep him alive.
The last 3 months have been quite horrendous. I find it increasingly difficult to handle Malcolm in the mornings and the evenings, the washing and the dressing. He's actually physically hurt me. Karate chop in the back of my neck, a thump in the small of my back, another one in my ribs, a swipe across my mouth, a cuff across the ear. What really upsets me is that Malcolm has always been a most gentle and loving person. And to see this stranger who's quite vicious, he's just not the man I married anymore. He has sometimes such a look of hatred in his eyes that I have genuinely feared for my own safety. It's almost impossible to go on being loving when someone is so physically violent towards you. And I can't run to a battered wives' refuge. I can't leave Malcolm in his helplessness. And I feel as though it's knocking all the love that I have for him out of me. And I can't let that happen. I can't let it affect the relationship in this way. There's been times this last few weeks when I felt that I hated him for what he was doing, not just to me, but to the thing that was so precious between us. I felt that the whole thing was disintegrating. Anyone knows that stress can cause illnesses, and I can't risk being ill, because then there'd be nobody to look after Malcolm or me. And there was certainly a time last week when I just wished that I wasn't looking after him anymore. I just felt I'd had enough. I don't like the idea of somebody else washing and dressing him and looking after his needs. But I've got to be careful about my own safety.
It's a sad day for us all. But putting Malcolm into respite care in a mental hospital will allow Barbara a chance to rest. The worry is, what will it do for Malcolm?
A year ago, I thought I'd be able to cope for much longer than I have actually been able to cope. But I've got to face it that I think there's been quite a sudden deterioration in the last 4 months. I've also realised that this kind of caring now requires a degree of physicality, if you like, which I haven't got. At the end of March, he went into hospital and he was over-medicated. 3 new drugs were brought into play and he lost his ability to walk and stand. I can't tell you how angry I was, because I sent in a man who could walk a mile around the village every day. And here we had someone who was helpless, sitting in a chair, convulsing, and needing a hoist to get him out of a chair. I asked the doctors to take him off the drugs, which I think rather reluctantly they agreed to. And within 5 or 6 days, he was walking again. I felt they'd wrecked him. And I'm still extremely angry that extra medication was introduced without my knowledge, and he was only in there for respite care. It's pitiful, pitiful to see. Round and round the garden, like a teddy bear. I'm coming. 1 step, 2 step. Take him under there. It's his birthday next Sunday.
How old will he be?
He'll be 57. On our wedding anniversary, which was at the beginning of the month, I took him for a walk in one of our favourite places. And his eyes were just fixed to the ground. He didn't enjoy the view. And I just brought him home again in a half an hour. It was not pleasurable for him, and it was so painful for me.
Can I actually a little bit?
He's locked inside himself. But I'm going to have to stop.
Can I just ask you one question? What do you want to happen to him now?
I want it to all be over as quickly as possible, and with the least pain and anguish for him, and if I'm truthful, for me as well. Malcolm. Malcolm. Tuesday the 29th of October, and I'm absolutely exhausted. I don't know what's got into Malcolm today and yesterday, but he's been as difficult as a very naughty child. Defiant, provocative and demanding. He thrust his slippers down the loo, and a diatribe followed, mainly gobbledygook, but the gist of which I seemed to catch. I was the cause of his misery. I gave him 1 ml of haloperidol, but it took nearly an hour to have an effect. I feel emotionally exhausted. I need to talk to a doctor. The respite care is now overdue, and I'm feeling the desperate need for it. I can't give him 100% attention. It's so wearing. Where do we go from here? That wasn't very nice. Perhaps I'm just tired. I feel trapped and very alone. I can't cope with the sheer obstinacy. The towels thrown into the loo and in the bath water. So I gave him another 1 ml of haloperidol. It seemed to calm him, but then the confusion increased and he peed on the downstairs loo carpet. Good friends are really standing by me. And I think my close friends have been absolutely marvellous.
I haven't seen you dance for a long time.
The social friends, the people you meet at parties or whatever, they're falling away. And there are actually 1 or 2 people in the village who will cross the street rather than stop and talk to us.
Have you been out for a walk? Can't remember. What's this word?
This is an drafting resident.
Yes.
Got that
Yes. What's that word? What does it say?
It's not that. I know.
Can you see it?
I gave Malcolm another dose of haloperidol at tea time. It resulted in a panic attack.
It's a drug that it's very difficult to overdose.
I yelled at him.
Causes very little
That was a
sedation.
mistake.
Well, how much syrup's he having?
This time he punched me on my face and left hand. I told him I couldn't look after him anymore if he didn't cooperate. I was again in tears because it all seemed so unreasonable. And in the middle of it all, I suddenly thought of the kind and gentle man Malcolm used to be. I've been watching the videos we took, a cine film of us as newlyweds, finding the plot of the house here, bringing up the kids, Christmases and birthday parties with them, and grandparents, holidays by the sea. And it all seemed a million miles away. Another world, another life. Where now is that kind, protective husband and father? Where is the best friend I could have? Gone down a black hole. I turned on Malcolm and shouted at him. I shouted that I'd had enough, that I loved him once, but couldn't love someone who was being so horrible to me.
I mean, Barbara, this is extremely worrying if it's got to that sort of level of violence between both of you. I mean, really, I think you do have to very seriously consider how much longer you can go on caring in this particular way.
I looked at him full in the eye and I said, Malcolm, I can't go on doing this. It's you or me. Either I go or you go.
Right.
Which is it to be? I do still love him very much, But there have been times these last few days when I realised that I was actually hating him. A few minutes later, Malcolm came downstairs. He knelt by me near the sofa and stroked my legs and breast. And I said, "Are you trying to tell me that you're sorry?" And he said, "Yes." I said I couldn't go on. I'd had enough. He offered a kiss. The first time that has happened in absolute ages. Sit down. Hold on. And although I complied, that upset me even more, and I gave him a close hug. Oh. I'm ashamed to say that at one point tonight, I was on the verge of calling a doctor to have him taken away. Where will it all end? Even a gin can't calm me down. Perhaps it's as well I don't know. That's the end of that day.
Please come! Please come! Please come!
How much do you want Malcolm to die?
I'm not quite ready to lose Malcolm just yet, because I think there's still some of the old Malcolm still left there, but I don't think it can be very long. I don't want any artificial lengthening of his life. He's suffered enough. He's a tormented soul.
Please come! Please come! Please come! Please come!
It's kinder now, I think, to let nature take its course, and please God that it's as quick as it can be. You're talking about being unable to swallow.
It's Barbara.
You're talking about him being lying on a bed in a fetal position, unable to take nourishment. In fact, like a newborn baby. It's not quality. It's not the quality that one would hope. I think the real Malcolm died a long time ago. And I'm just left with a kind of shadow. Sorry, Paul. I'm off again.
Do you want me to stop filming?
No, I'm all right. Just give me a minute to wipe my eyes.
You've done a lot of that in the last few weeks and months, haven't you?
I've done my grieving. It's just that this illness is so cruel. And people tell me I've got to think of myself now, and I guess they're right. Okay, blubbing over.
And when he dies, do you think he'll have a life alone, or will you look for a partner?
Lovely.
I think I shall look for a partner. I don't like being alone. I'm not lonely, but I hate the aloneness. I miss the cuddles, I miss the caressing. I don't know, I miss the tenderness. And I miss the sex. I mean, just because you're in your 50s doesn't mean you lie down and die, you know? And Mark and I had a very good sex life. And this illness, and particularly the drugs, caused him to be impotent. I just hope that doesn't look as though I'm just waiting for him to die so that I can leap off into another man's arms or something, but it's just that I don't like being alone.
Since December 1995, we have been on a harrowing journey. But in April 1999, none of us was prepared for the final savagery of Alzheimer's disease.
Please, please.
Summer 2005, and Malcolm is still with us. The dining room is now a hospital ward for one. At risk of losing her savings and health, Barbara is determined to keep Malcolm alive. But I do ask, is the battle worthwhile?
I'll be truthful, there have been many times when I wanted to give up.
You wanted to give up what?
I wanted to give up the whole thing.
Of looking after Malcolm?
Looking after Malcolm. I kept thinking, I can't take any more of this. There's another pillow here, Pat. Oh, that's a soft one.
What is the purpose of prolonging a life? What is the purpose?
If Malcolm is sending me messages that he wants to let go, then really it's a greater part of love on my behalf to let go as well. It's very hard when it comes to the actual point and the love gets in the way.
I think I'm probably something like mummy to Malcolm, because I don't think he appreciates that I'm his wife. I'm just a kindly person who looks to his needs.
Yes.
And there are times when, particularly in the middle of the night, when I think, oh, I'm so tired, I can't get up again just to reposition his legs. But I know I have to. Make sure you dry, me lad. One of the easiest things I could do would be to say, let him go into hospital, let them do what they want, probably get MRSA. 2 weeks, it could all be over.
I haven't really had a proper respite break for 2 whole years.
Are you enjoying that?
The message came back from the primary care trust that then if I went on to demand respite, then they would pull the plug on the whole package and put Malcolm into hospital.
Sounds like blackmail to me.
Well, it sounded like blackmail to me too.
I have been making this film for 11 years, but this time, when Barbara urgently called at dawn, I went immediately to Malcolm's bedside, uncertain as to what I would find.
You're all right, you're safe. You're safe. We've got you. Don't be frightened.
Are you frightened?
I'm actually quite calm, Paul. Because I've made the decision to have this line in. Now he's stopped swallowing altogether.
That's morphine, is it?
It's morphine, and also in there is a drug to try and hold back the fits.
You seem very assured.
My heart's pounding, really. In one way, Paul, a little bit of Malcolm has been dying for the last 15 years. Each loss of his abilities and his functions, especially his speech, felt like another bit of him dying. And it feels like this is the last step of that process.
That was a good one.
And I find it very difficult to let go. Very difficult indeed. All right, sweetheart. I'm not scared of Malcolm's death, but I am very much scared of the manner of his dying.
All right, sweetheart.
Come on, it's all right. Do you want to film the bitter end, Paul?
Yes, if that's all right with you and the family.
Please. So sorry.
And you think Malcolm would agree?
I think Malcolm would agree, because you've become almost like a friend of the family. He'll probably be very tearful, but
Well, that'll be
when
good
you love
for
somebody.
That'll be good for all of us.
Alzheimer's is not seen as an illness. You know, we all get a bit forgetful as we get older and so on, and it's minimised. You have to be almost at death's door before they give people with Alzheimer's continuing care. I do know that the government has earmarked money for carers' respite. And perhaps Graham can help. Now, which black hole has that money gone into? Because certainly I haven't seen any of it. Hello, my love.
Hello, my dear.
The government is saying that the GPs will no longer look after people in care homes. The care homes are going to have to buy in private doctors. Now, what sort of state have we got into? Have you had a good journey? Are you tired? Yes, I'm sure you are. In our local hospital, there are now more administrators than there are beds. And if they want to save some money, then have a look at the pen pushers. Kiss? No, you don't do kisses, do you? No. No, I didn't think you did. I think what's happening here is that carers' goodwill is being exploited. They know that we won't give up. We'll carry on to the bitter end, even if it costs our own health or social life or whatever. And I think that is known. And carers save the state £57 billion a year.
Billion?
Billions. More than the NHS budget.
Malcolm, swallow. That's it. Good.
He's just not swallowing. It's just, the whole mechanism appears to be breaking down.
Malcolm, swallow. That's it.
I hear what you're saying, but if he's not swallowing his antibiotic, he isn't taking food or drink either. We're into a real bind here.
Okay.
Yes, and I don't want to go down the intravenous drip hospital route if I can help it. He'd be terrified out of his mind. The noise, the clatter, the lights, the being handled by unfamiliar hands and hearing unfamiliar voices, he'd think he was in some sort of hell. I'm not going to put him through that.
But Barbara, you might save his life.
For what purpose?
That's a different attitude from you.
That's it. Calm down.
Has it ever crossed your mind that you could inherit his illness?
I don't like to worry about it, because if I worry about it, I'll only worry other people, and I'll only worry myself. Myself and my brother were asked to take a test, but in the end they said it wasn't necessary. They thought it was not inheritable. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I just hope to God that someone will be more helpful than they have been to him.
I think every family in the land knows somebody with dementia, if not in their own family, then among their close circle. What would you like to drink with your meal, Chris? It's going to become the scourge of this century. The state can afford free care for everybody where there's political will. That's the problem, where there's political will. It's pineapple juice, Malcolm. Fresh pineapple juice. There you are. You see, this government, Paul, can find money when it wants it, like going to war in Iraq and all the rest of it. Where is the money for the most vulnerable members of our society?
I don't see the government giving an OBE for all that.
I'm sure they won't.
Barbara, Mrs. Pointon, for services to those with dementia.
Barbara, big question. You know, you and your MBE and the Queen?
Sorry, the Queen stood me up.
What?
I had a very gracious Princess Royal instead.
That's Anne?
That's Anne. So I was absolutely gobsmacked when I got this brown envelope on Her Majesty's service, which I thought must be some tax demand or whatever. And I opened it, and there it was that I'd been recommended to receive an MBE in the Queen's 80th birthday honours.
Over the past few years, when I've asked you tough questions, you've cried.
Yes.
You don't cry anymore.
No. I have almost cried on a couple of occasions when you've been talking to me, because It is quite painful to contemplate these things. In a way, I think I've probably done a lot of my crying.
It's a little one, Malcolm.
I've done a lot of my grieving. I've done a lot of my thinking.
Break there.
I'm resigned to it now.
All right, sweetheart. All right, sweetheart.
And I sometimes just look at his hands and think, these were the hands that once flew over the piano keys.
All right, sweetheart.
And hands that caressed, hands that... the arms that held me in tight embraces are now just useless and hang by his side.
But it is, isn't it, although you're near to tears now, it is much harder. You are dried up. The reservoir's empty, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You can't do this job unless you love, really love the person you're caring for.
Yeah, I love you. It's all right, Malcolm.
I still love you, Malcolm, and I always will.
You can let go.
So death isn't the end, because love goes on. A new beginning for you and a new beginning for me.
You try to go to Papa.
Thank you for all the laughter and the love and the music that this house was filled with. Alzheimer's has buggered it all up. You're too young to die.
Life can be very unfair.
Yes, life is unfair. But then I remember saying this way back when you filmed at the beginning, that we mustn't expect life to be fair, because it never is.
Malcolm never regained consciousness and died some 3 days later. Love's farewell. All right, well, shall we turn off for the last time?
Yes, that in itself is another sadness.
For a free fact sheet giving more information about Alzheimer's and dementia, go to itv.com/Malcolm and Barbara, or you can contact the Alzheimer's Society on 0845 3000 336.